The collab, the almighty collab, the thing we have all done. We are all guilty of it, and to be quite honest, you should be still collabing. I hope you are, because the collab is perhaps one of the most important tools in sorts of just things that as a photographer you should be using and that we do use to create the work we want to see, make connections, and attract the business we want to get hired for. Welcome to my studio. I'm actually at my desk, and I thought this was a good scene to do this. Yeah, it's in Washington, D.C. This is where I'm doing it from. Just wanted to throw that out there because for the most part I'm always on location, or maybe like you've seen me around here, but now I'm just kind of sitting, relaxing, and doing this sort of content, talking to you. So let's start. So what is a collab? So a collab is when artists come together, and in a photographer's perspective, it's when a photographer comes together with a model and sometimes a makeup artist, a stylist, whoever you want to bring into the shoot. It's essentially free work, or a trade for print, which means you take their photos and they get photos out of it, or they help you and they get photos out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's basically people come together to make work for free. No one's getting paid, but you do get awesome stuff for your portfolio, and hopefully they do as well. So I just kind of want to start baseline, so like the entry-level collabs, and then we'll get deeper into it for people who are like me, who are a lot more experienced in their collabing and how to really take it to the next level. Your collab is seriously one of the most important parts to go from beginner photographer with no clients to going to completely booked and going full-time, and essentially I use them myself to go full-time. So baseline, for a beginner photographer, your collabs should just be with models and people who need photos in general. So my strategy was I reached out to bloggers and I was like, yo, would you like to collab? I'd love to work with you for free. And it's a good way to sort of just kind of get your feet wet and to sort of just like learn the basics of your camera. You start meeting people, you start growing your network a little bit, which I'll get into later. But really, when you first start off, collabing should be something that you do all the time. Book as many collabs as you possibly can because you're not getting paid work, right? So use these collabs as a way to build your portfolio and just get your feet wet just with like dealing with people, dealing with models, dealing with whatever it is. So when you're starting out, use collabs and keep them simple. Don't get too complex right off the bat. So just reach out to like a blogger, or reach out to like, a pretty new-ish model and be like, hey, would you like to collab? And just sort of have a location in mind of where you're gonna meet. And usually they ask you for ideas of like what to style, what they should wear, how they should do their makeup. And when you're beginning, these are all very feasible things that most models will do. Granted, you give them a little bit of direction. So when you're starting, keep the collab simple, have a general location. It's okay to walk around a little bit and just kind of explore a little bit and find the shots. We've all started there, but in the beginning, use it for a portfolio. The next level, like the intermediate collaborator, the person who's collabed enough times and you've met up enough times and you've walked around enough to you ask yourself, there has to be more to collabs than this. And there is. So for the intermediate collabers, you should try taking it to the next level. Take your collabs to the next level. And essentially that is what I'm trying to teach you here. So instead of you meeting with the model and them doing everything and you just meeting and taking the photos and you sending it to them, take your collab to the next level by, having a location in mind. So instead of just wandering around, maybe have a couple shots already framed, a little bit more of a concept. Maybe try bringing people into the collab as well. Maybe now try reaching out to a stylist, reaching out to a makeup artist, reaching out to an accessories company, because at this level, you've already kind of started building your portfolio, and your portfolio should look, at least somewhat similar to what you want to get booked for. And so now you just got to start taking it to the next level. So this is one of my key things about, next level collabs is use it as a way to network. So by networking, like using your collabs as like the pivotal networking thing, you can, in a weird way, start to get gigs off of that. So let me explain. So let's, for instance, I'm gonna use my last collab. I'm a little more experienced in the collab area, but I'm gonna use my last collab for an example. So I wanted to do a collab to do something more editorial. I really just wanted more editorial fashion stuff in my portfolio, which you can watch that video in the one before this, the BTS. I kind of forgot. Whatever. I'll link it in the description. But so what I did was I reached out to my designer friend Amanda. She's a fashion designer. And we shot her last season's clothes, so she let me borrow those. So that gives me like an edge already for my photos, like designer clothes, like that's awesome, right? I reached out to a good model who I really want to work with, and you know, I told her, hey, I'm bringing all these things together. She was super down, right? And then I also used it as an opportunity to reach out to an accessories company because, you know, I can't just have clothes, I need to have accessories as well. And so I brought an accessories company into the mix, and now I'm friends with them. And you know, I did them a huge service. All they did was kind of trust me, a stranger, with their accessories for a little bit. And they were local, so I drove and met them and picked it up and stuff. And so what I did was I essentially created like, you know, a full-blown shoot out of, you know, thin air, but I'm still, you know, making these connections and getting my portfolio made, and I'm providing value to the accessories company, but at the same time, it's networking. So use your intermediate collabs as ways to grow your network and to meet other people. Like it's always a great idea to bring different companies and designers and accessory makers and jewelry makers and anyone you really want or you're interested in working with, you know, into the mix. You know, and so that company that I worked with last, Eagle Lord, they reached out to me and they're like, yo, you know, what are your rates to shoot our next line of products? And I was not expecting that at all. That was never my intention, but I guess it kind of worked out like that. They liked the work and they're like, yo, sure, why not? We'll hire you. So in a weird way, it kind of helps like grease the slide into some clients. But I hope you see what I'm getting at with use your collab to network, to meet people, to link up with certain models, to link up with certain makeup artists. It's a great way to start kind of building your circle of people you want to work with for those paid gigs. Now, because you've worked with a couple, you know, makeup artists, you know, you have a connection or a dynamic with them. So, you know, you can start building your team of people that you can rely on when it comes to these like paid gigs, and you know, you have to set everything up. And then also you start learning how to manage a team. So for a shoot, you can't just go from like you and the model walking around to just full-blown shoot for a company who's paying you thousands of dollars. That's just not gonna happen, and you're gonna look like a fool under pressure. So use it to practice, you know, managing people, managing these big shoots together. You know, it's okay to do test shoots with modeling agencies. I guess in a lot of other cities, you know, in like New York, you reach out through modeling agencies and then you can test shoot. So use your collab, get creative with it. And then I'm gonna go straight into the advanced portion of just how you can use collabs more. So if you're kind of like burnt out collabs, or if you don't do collabs and you do only paid work, I would recommend using your collabs as a way to like de-stress. You know, maybe you don't have to go do a whole drawn out shoot like the intermediate photographer would do. You know, you're almost going back to square one of maybe just doing something that's more artistic, something that you've been wanting to do, something that, you know, brings you back to the reason of why you love to shoot photography. You know, it's when you're shooting so many paid gigs, you kind of get lost in what your voice as an artist, because photography is an art. You can get lost in your voice as an artist of what you really want to do. And so use collabs as a way to refresh your creative juices, you know, to artistically flex on people. Yeah, I've been in the gym, but to artistically flex on people. And so, you know, you don't have to go full scope production, but maybe it's just like you and a friend or you and a model say, hey, I'm trying to do something kind of, you know, reduced, and I just want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, use it to de-stress, to get back to your artistic center. I know for a fact that, you know, I've been in that mood where I'm just like, man, I just want to do something chill. I don't always want to have to pull all these pieces together. Can't we just go shoot and do something chill? And, you know, so I have that planned next week, and I'm looking forward to it because, you know, it's just a shoot that's not so dramatic with all these moving pieces. It's just reduced. So for the experienced collabor who is, you know, probably full-time or doing some paid work, or maybe does all paid work, a collab can be a great way to just sort of de-stress and to get back to your roots. And so really, guys, you know, just to kind of sum all this up, while there is layers to like where you're at in like your collab life cycle, don't be afraid to try either one. You know, it's a great way to build your network, to potentially gain clients, to make relationships, to practice. You know, let me go, I completely forgot about this, but use your collabs to practice, guys. Like, literally especially for the beginner and intermediates, even advanced. Like at all levels, you should be practicing and trying new things. Collabs are a great way to try a crazy lighting setup, to try using this reflector, to try shooting through that crystal. You know, it's so much harder to get away with doing new techniques or trying new things or experimenting with your angles or whatever it might be when, you know, your money's on the line. When your next meal's on that line, you're gonna be a lot less cautious to try a new technique or try a crazy lighting setup, especially because it's time is money and you don't want to waste it. So with a collab, really look at it as like, you know, a learning, growing opportunity. Why do you want to do a collab that's completely comfortable for you? Every time you collab, it should, in a way, be pushing yourself that's positive for you. You know, collab should never be negative or creepy. Don't ever use a collab to be creepy. That's not cool. Don't do it to us guy photographers. I'm already fuckboy looking enough with a freaking man bun and rolled up pants that you can't see, so I keep it non-creepy, guys. But yeah, so now I'm actually gonna wrap this up. Whatever stage of photography life cycle collab you are at, please get the most juice out of it. You know, squeeze it for what it's worth. Make it fun. Keep photography fun. It's not all about paid gigs. Sometimes you just got to be an artist and try something new. So I hope this helps, or it just gives you a little bit of inspiration for your next collab, or maybe you'll set something up that's reduced. I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. I'll leave the opinions and all that up to you guys in the comments. If you want, I'll reply to all of them. Shoot me a like if you actually liked this video. And actually, this was a podcast segment that I do on my show called That's the Angle. I've been kind of posting videos of it. But there's a lot of stuff that I don't post on YouTube that's literally just me talking to the camera like this, but just no video, it's just voice. And this was actually one of the things I covered before. I just wanted to rehash it into video form because I thought this was super important material that I don't really see people talking about. A lot of people are just kind of getting busy, carried away doing their challenges and stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love them, dude. They're so interesting. So guys, that's it for me. Hope you learned something. Let me know how your next collab goes. I don't know. Peace out.